Right, evening folks. Just thought I'd give you a quick little update and a sneak preview for some of my friends at Diff. This is what I was doing last night. Been dumping and crunching data. You can't see this on the screen, but just pages and pages. Data, mainly based on lists of names. I've got sheets here with just lists of names in different categories all over the place. This thing's absolutely enormous, and I'm only dealing with and messing here with about 20% of the actual data and the actual names involved. I've worked in databases professionally, and nothing I've ever had to deal with has been this complex. I'm having to use a few different separate cores and build up around those cores and bring those core databases together. Yeah, it's massive, it's so complicated. But anyway, I've started running things through, breaking things into categories, got individuals, investigations, locations, organisations, all these kind of things. So all the people involved are going to start coming into categories, and they're going to start finding common threads between groups of these people. It's not just people, there's things, there's groups. So there's Alan Franey, Hawkdale at Garen, Dunscroft Girls' School, BBC, Leeds General Infirmary, Stoke Mandeville, Jersey, Glencoe, Gary Glitter, Stephen Purdue, Prince Charles, the Pope, Top of the Pops. These are the individual items that the database is going to be made up of, so it's not just people. And then we'll see how these thread together. So I haven't finished with the raw data. This, like I say, this is just a very small sample to see if I can get some kind of structure, and already I'm having massive problems. But it's all good and it's all hopeful. Now, if you can see this at all, let's zoom in a bit there. So this one's like a mind map. It is a mind map, that's what it is. It's only a one level mind map, and it has a lot of limitations on it. And again, I've used the same structure as before, and these aren't just people, these are items, places, organisations, institutions, all kinds of things. So we also have some icons here. I've started grouping these. So you've got individuals, you've got groups, you've got locations, police forces, investigations, so ITV Exposure, Operation U-Tree, BBC's Panorama programme, and these have been started to be assigned numbers. So these number 1, 2, 3, these are steps of degree away from the centre point. So all of these with the number 1 had a direct link with Savile at the core. Ones with 2 are at least one step away. And anyway, this is building on. This is an even smaller sample than what I started with, and this just already. This wasn't even an hour's worth of work, and I've run into a brick wall of complexity. But it's going to be useful for breaking up into different cores, so I'll come back to this one later. I don't know if anybody's used the brain before. I used to use this way back in the 90s. Zoom out a bit there. This is an awesome program. So I went and got myself a new copy of the brain last night, and I started putting the data in. And the important thing about the brain is it can make links. When I've used the brain before, again, the enormity and the complexity of this data has meant I've had to approach this differently to how I always have done in the past. Normally I'd have a fairly kind of complex hierarchical structure. The structure for this, however, is extremely flat. So Jimmy Savile is the core, and excuse the terminology, it's the phrases that is used in these kind of things. Every item is a child of Savile. There are no siblings and no parents. And each of these are mainly all siblings with each other, and there are becoming hundreds of them. I tried having multi-layer organisations around here. It just becomes too complicated. It's just like it's like a cat's cradle that's collapsed and is out of control. It's meaningless. Everything just is a mass of lines all joined onto each other. So rather than joining things hierarchically, we're going to join everything as siblings. So instead of seeing a pyramid structure, we will see a flat net that should show some nodes of high traffic of where these lines cross. And again, this is about the same sample of data that I was using before. When I say 20%, I don't mean 20% as in volume, I mean 20% as in items, i.e. like numbers of people or items involved. I mean, I don't know how many here. There's about 100 to 120, something like that. And again, it's not just people, there's items, institutions, places, locations, all sorts. I've started linking them together, and I've only probably done about 10% of the linkages, and already, well, we'll see. So let's take a random jump in. Okay, so we've got Savile at the start. Okay, let's zoom in again. So you can kind of see what's going on. If anybody else, I'm sure I saw at some point early on that somebody else had done a brain of Savile. That's what this software is called, and that's what you call them, brains. So if anybody knows of or hears of somebody else who's done one, it'd be interesting to see if we can share projects, share data. Anyway, let's just jump in somewhere random. Leads. Okay. And so we see some of the threads here. Leeds, the Yorkshire Ripper, Friday Morning Club. I've zoomed this in on quite a lot so that you can actually see the text. Normally I'd be working on it about like that. And still, even at that, there's barely enough room to get all of the data onto the one screen, which you might notice I've turned my screen on its side to try and cope with this. It's amazing. Anyway, so Leeds, Yorkshire Ripper, the Friday Morning Club, Savile's funeral, Roundhay Park, Leeds General Infirmary, Jim the Pill, and you can see as we move through, it highlights links that are going on elsewhere. So if we look at Jim the Pill Cardiff, we've got two highlighted links there straight away. One is Louis Theroux, and the other one is Cunard Cruise Liners. So let's get over to Jim the Pill, and yeah, we get related links: Cruise Liners, Leeds, Louis Theroux, the Friday Morning Club. The Friday Morning Club, and there we are. There's all members of the Friday Morning Club. There's a link to Savile's funeral, and there's a time link there for the date of the funeral. When they were joined together. Mick Starkey was a member of the Friday Morning Club. Let's have a look at Mick Starkey. West Yorkshire Police, because of course he used to be Chief Superintendent or something of West Yorkshire. Okay, so let's have a look at West Yorkshire Police. Inspectorate Constabulary. Operation New Green, which was, I believe, conducted into the workings of West Yorkshire Police. West Yorkshire Police Federation, John Christopher, Chairman of the West Yorkshire Police Confederation. So as the Flats database is going in and I'm building these threads and links, we're getting to see how they fit and how they operate together. And if you just let it wander on its own, it'll pick up a few, and you'll see these nodes. Here's one node, like Frank Bruno. So Frank Bruno, interesting node. Quite a lot pops up with Frank. And again, I've barely touched the surface. I've done about 10% of the actual links. There you go, Frank Bruno. Broadmoor is here. Linking off down here, you've got Princess Diana, Ronnie Cray, Alan Franey. You've also, with Frank Bruno, you've got Champneys Health Spas, ties in with Aylesbury and Tring in Buckinghamshire, Stephen Purdue, the Blairs. You can see the 1 and 2 steps, degrees of separation, and the common networkings starting to appear. So heads down, and this is what I'm doing. So it's really only a sneak preview. I won't have this video up for long. It's just for a few days to show some of my diff mates out there, and to also show that I'm not just all talk on the forum. I am here doing stuff, or trying to do stuff. So all the best, and I'll see you guys on the forum later on tonight. No doubt. Good night.